old school meets the new school. Yes, let's see what we can do with modern tools in this engine. Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Yes, we are working on this old Mercedes W115. We are going to be rebuilding the carburetor in a separate video, but what we want to do now is actually do a compression test on the engine, and actually we can look inside the engine and see exactly what's going on, if there's any damage, or just, I know there's no particular damage, but we just want to see what sort of condition it's like. We are using some Hobby Tools say that quick. We've got the universal pressure tester, and we've also got a video scope. But the beauty thing about this particular video scope that we are using, which is just unbelievable. Are you ready? I can actually look at that. I can twist this full so you can see, you know, at the top of the engine or top of the head, and yeah, just absolutely awesome. So let's get the spark plugs removed, and we will do the looking inside first with the video scope. I'll put all the links down below where you can get all these tools from and everything, so you can actually see where they are and who they are. And yeah, but let's get cracking and see what the engine looks like. Right, I will be doing a screen record on, oh, that's it, drop my bloody new camera, congratulations. I will be doing a screen record on this, and I'll also be recording me, so you can kind of see both. So even though I won't show you this screen on camera, you're going to see it on the video. So on cylinder number 1, let's go down and first see the piston. Piston's quite far up. It's a bit wet. You can actually see a bit of rust in the cylinder, but this car hasn't been started in a very long time, so I'm not worried about that. I don't see, a bit of stuff on the camera lens. Let's get this in again without touching anything. No, that's a lot better picture. Now, so that piston looks good. We will just, now you can see the wall there. So a little bit of rust on it, but again, nothing that concerns me. We'll just turn the cameras. Turn the, yeah. That's the actual head. So that's, oh actually hold on, no. That's not rust. It's the actual head. Look at that. There we go. Oh, there's a tiny little bit of rust there. That's the wall, it's the cylinder wall. Let's flick it up and look at the head. Again, all looks good there. So cool how it just flips up. There's the other valve. We're just curious to see the valves because this has been running on normal fuel, and obviously when this car was around there was unleaded or leaded fuel, but this does have hardened valve seals in it, so, or stem seals, so it should be fine. Just is that. That's all good. So there's no real build up, which is really good. Piston looks good. We'll go to number 2. Right, so in cylinder number 2, and this is the valve. You can see the valve is actually opened at the minute. And a good thing about this particular camera is a normal camera with the 90-degree mirror wouldn't show you this, because we're going in at an angle because the way the spark plugs are on this engine. So if you pointed it exactly 90 degrees, you wouldn't see the top. It's more like, I don't know, like 50, 60 degrees. But anyway, so you can see, because what we want you to see is make sure there's no, the valves aren't bent or anything like that. This valve is open, as you would expect it to be. And again, it all looks good. Turn it around for the other valve. Okay, well, that's the valve there. Look, that's open. Let's just try and get that. That's the piston. Again, piston all looks good. We'll just turn it to the wall. The other issue with this camera is because you can really see how clear it is, you're getting a lot more clarity than you would in a normal camera, which this engine might look quite bad. You can see again, it's just rust. I swear, I mean, look, it's an old car. It's done a lot of miles, this engine. So there is a little bit of wear in there, as you can see. So let me just valve. Again, I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. There's no burning marks, there's nothing like that. It is all good. That's what we like to see. So there is just a little bit of wear on the cylinder wall. But again, you would kind of expect that. There's a bit of pit in there. But again, you wouldn't see this clarity with a normal camera. But yeah, definitely see something there. We'll take a picture of that. Look at that, we can really, wow. Look at that valve, that is perfect. You can really see into that now. This camera is just, the quality is unbelievable. You even see inside the valve stem and everything. Look at that. Awesome. Right, cylinder number 3. Let's see what we've got. Again, we've got the same pitting happening. You can see it there. Now this, because of what camera it is, it's showing it to be kind of a lot worse than what you'd maybe see it normally. But again, the piston looks good. That's the wall there. Again, we've got that pitting again. But this, like I said, this has done quite high mileage. So I want to take a picture of that. So let's now look up to look at the build up. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Now, so that valve, really good. Can't see any burn-ins or any signs of any issues there. I tell you, being able to move the camera up and down, you know, bend the camera that way is just, it's unbelievable. That valve looks good. Don't see anything wrong with it. Yeah, all looks good. So we've got the same pitting, but we knew that. So what we'll do now is we'll go to number 4. Oh, we have oil in here now. Now, we have some oil in here, which we didn't in the other cylinders. Right, we have some oil in here now, which we didn't in the other cylinder. That's oil. So we'll burn in a bit of oil. Again, same pitting on it. Right, so like I said, look, there's definitely oil there. This cylinder is definitely more pitted than... Right, so let's have a look at it. We can see just twist this. Yeah, now look at that. You can see it's clear as day. Absolutely as clear as day. That valve is leaking. So I'm just going to double check the other ones, because the other ones did seem a bit wet. Not as bad as this one though. Yeah, look at that, you can see it all there. Yeah, you can see it. Yep, so again, we didn't know this. And with the camera, we can see as clear as day, because the other one, which is there, is absolutely bone dry. So, what I am going to do is just kind of quickly check the other ones again, because they were a little bit wet. Right, unfortunately I wasn't recording. You could see as clear as day which one was gone. So, right, look at that now. So we've got, look at that. You can see as clear as day all the oil around that valve. Now that is actually, write down in the comments which valve you think it is. So you can see this valve here. Now you can see that valve is absolutely, it's as dry as a bone. Where this one, you can clearly see it's absolutely soaking wet, and you can see it's oil, it's not fuel, from the actual piston itself. But tell me down in the comments, is that the exhaust valve or is it the intake valve? It's fairly easy on an engine with just 2 valves, because normally, again, there might be some engines out there, but normally one is bigger than the other. And there's a reason why it's bigger than the other, and it's to do with the way the compression stroke works. Rather than vacuum, it works on compression. So tell me why or which valve it is, but also tell me why one valve in an engine that especially only has 2 valves, there's always one valve that's bigger. And which one is that? Now, when you've got like 4 valves per cylinder, it slightly changes because of the volume of them. But in this case, it doesn't. It's just got 2 valves per cylinder. And yeah, tell me why it needs to be bigger and which valve it is. But we can clearly see all the oil around there. Yeah, you can clearly see it's that one. And there's the oil. Yeah, there's the oil. So, I'm going to do a compression test. Now, in this chance, the compression might be slightly better in that cylinder, and I know that's going to sound a bit funny, but when you've got, if you've got an issue with a cylinder and you put oil down the cylinder, you can actually raise the compression for a little bit, and this engine hasn't been started in a long time, so this is a complete cold compression test. I haven't rebuilt the carburetor yet, so I can't have it running and do like I did on the other car, like I did on the Imp. I did a cold compression, and then when the engine was hot, I can't do that, so I can only do a complete cold compression test on this. So even though that cylinder is the worst, it might actually, now I'm not saying it will, but it might actually show up to be the best. So yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. So let me just have a quick look down here now. I kind of know a bit more information. I just thought that was a bit of petrol. But now we know a bit more. Is it? Let's go back on the same valve. Yeah, it's leaking a little bit on that actually as well. You can see the oil there. Yeah. So it wasn't just a bit of petrol. It is oil. Actually, that's oil as well. I didn't spot that. That is oil as well. Ah, yeah, that one's gone as well. Yeah, that's gone as well. So we're leaking in multiple cylinders, which again is really only to be, yeah, that's oil as well. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, we're leaking on all of them, and it's all the same valve. So this isn't a normal engine, and what I mean by like a model engine where air goes in one way and exhaust goes out the other way. The exhaust and the air all comes out of one side, and tell me what that engine is called, where it doesn't go through it all, you know, like air comes in one way and exhaust goes out the other way. This engine all comes out one side. So tell me down in the comments what you think that engine is called as well. Now I'm going to slightly change my mind to what I said about cylinder number 4 now, because 1, 2 and 4, I think number 3 is the best as regards not leaking. Now again, the camera might make it look worse than what it is because just because of the quality of the camera, but there's not really like a hell of a lot of oil in there. And the customer, when I did say this is this, he said, well, it's not burning massive oil. So what you're going to find with something along this line is when you maybe change gear, you won't see it because you're driving, but the person behind you might see a puff of like blue smoke. It's only going to get worse. Now we are going to most probably be completely taking the head off and getting it done. But for the time being, I just want to do my compression test on it. And I also want to rebuild the carburetor. And then we can get this started again and we can actually see and go from there. And then we can make our decision of what we're going to do. Is he going to leave it for a while until it gets a bit worse? Or is he going to do it kind of soon? We will know soon. Right, like an absolute tit, I was just moving everything around, trying to get better angles and stuff, and I tripped over the bloody wire, and I've just pulled the connection out of the of my sensor. Right, for this we are using the Hobby Tools automotive pressure tester, and as you can see, it tests a lot of things. This car has never seen so much technology in all its life, even when it was being built. Technology we have used on it, if it was back in the day, it'll be scary. So all I'm doing is screwing this down the hole. What we got to do is, we can't fully open the throttle because our carburetor is off. So it's essentially fully open anyway. But one thing I do have to do is stop the fuel coming through the pump. But all I do is this, open this up, connect this onto here, push it down. Oh, that's it. Don't do it properly on camera. Yeah, there we go. It's on now. Put it into our tool, go to compression, and boom, it's there. It automatically tells you you've got the right one in if you got the wrong one in. Now what it's going to do, I'm going to crank it and it will save it on each of them, and we can then, I'm going to write down as well, but it will save it on each of them and it will tell us what our compression is, and then we can work out if it's good, if it's bad, and we can go from there. So just let me undo the feed pipe going to the pump for the fuel, because the last thing I need is fuel to be coming out of here, and then we've got spark, we've got all that, and then we're going to have a fire, which might look cool on video, but I don't want that. Right, like an absolute tit, I was just moving everything around, trying to get better angles and stuff, and I tripped over the bloody wire, and I've just pulled the connection out of the of my sensor. So I'm not going to be able to use that now from now on. I'm going to have to use the manual gauge. I hope I brought a manual gauge with me. Oh, I should have got that on camera, because that could have gone viral. I went right arse over tit. And lucky enough, the computer wedged and it just pulled the wire out. So I don't think I've done any damage to the computer. Hopefully I can repair it. But anyway, yeah, bloody annoying. Anyway. Let me continue with this and we'll see what we've got. We'll see what readings we've got. So 175, which is good. Good. Right, cylinder number 2, and like I said, we do have to be careful because the oil is going to help the compression. So it could be disguising it slightly. So we bear that in mind. Is that 175? It's good. Right, I am expecting cylinder number 3 to be slightly lower, just because there's no real oil in it, where there is in the others. And like I said, the oil will kind of disguise it. So if my theory is correct, this should be lower than the other ones. It's 155. So yeah, lower than the other two. Okay, we're on cylinder number 4 now, and if my theory is correct, this one should be higher than the third one. And again, it's because of the oil in the cylinder. We'll see if I'm right. Was I right? Ah, look at that. Jesus, 175 again. Pretty much bang on. So the one with not leaking oil is lower, which like I said, I would expect that. So we could still have a slight blow-by on here, which again, I would say we're having a little bit just because of the age of the engine and how many miles it's done. It has done quite a lot of miles. So we'll leave it up to the customer what he wants me to do. It's not like really bad or anything like that as yet. It is obviously worn. There is going to be issues if you take the head off and get all that done. You might as well do piston rings and stuff like that, just because to freshen it up. And yeah, but we'll see. Then if you do piston rings, you have to do big ends and stuff. Like, where do you stop? Do you know what I mean? Where do you stop? Do you just do the head first and wait for other things to happen, or do you kind of do it all at once? This is always the big question. But I am happy enough with the compression readings, and just as I thought, the one with no oil is slightly lower. But yeah, it's kind of what I expected, and it does go to show also that the engine is in fairly good nick, even though it's old and it's done a lot of mileage. They don't make them like they used to. Mercedes, why can't you do this again? Why don't you have this type of, anyway, modern cars, eh? Right, so that's it. So you can see how good it is to actually have a look inside the engine and do a compression test. And you can really clearly see what's going on. You can also clearly see that there is oil in the cylinders, which also made the compression higher. So it's a really good way, obviously, without completely dismantling your engine and finding these things out. Doing a compression test is always good. And also putting a bore scope down there is good, because you can clearly see what's going on. And we could see that the valves are leaking. You can clearly see everything. So at least we know we've definitely got a valve issue, not necessarily a piston ring issue, but I'd still say they're worn. You can see that the pitting on the inside of the engine as well, you can clearly see that, which is obviously also losing compression. All these things aren't helping, but the oil is sealing them little pits. So I think this is lower on compression than what it's actually showing, but still good. It's still not like completely gone or anything like that. So what we're going to do now is that's going to be it. I'll let you know what's going on. If the engine is going to be rebuilt, we will be obviously showing a video on it. I don't know if he's just going to do the head first and then do the pistons and everything later on. We'll see. I think the head is definitely worse than the pistons. So if you had to pick which one to do first, would be the head, and then you can do the pistons afterwards. But it's like everything. If you were to do the pistons properly, you'd really want to take them off, take the head out, so you can actually do everything together. So if you just do the head first, for example, you're going to have to take the head back off once you do the pistons, because you're going to have to clean all the walls up and everything. So it is best to do it all at once, but it also comes down to money and real world and practical and all that stuff. This engine could last another 5 or 6 years before you have to do absolutely anything to it. That's another thing to bear in mind. You not necessarily have to do it. But anyway, next video on this is going to be completely rebuilding the carburetor. And yeah, so as always, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.